So this is the Infinix Zero Ultra. It's the new flagship device from Infinix that comes with a 200 megapixel sensor and 180 watt Thunder charge. What that means is this phone can charge from 0 to 50 in about 4 minutes. And it can charge from 0 to 100% in just around 12 minutes, which is absolutely insane to me. But before we get into the features of this phone, I just wanted to point out a few things. This phone is a loaner and I intend to return it to Infinix immediately after my review. Infinix does not get to tell me what to say in this review video, and all the opinions in this video are completely mine because last I checked... Quiet! Now, let's start with the unboxing experience for this phone. Opening up the box, you're going to get the phone itself. Really good looking phone, as you can see, right? You get some paperwork and a SIM ejector tool, and then you get a Thunder charge brick, which is, not so surprisingly, actually weighs a lot more than, well, maybe not a lot, but it weighs more than the phone, lol. Other things you get in the box include a USB-C cable, and you get earphones, which kind of surprised me because you don't really get stuff like that these days in unboxing videos for mobile phones, right? And then you also get a USB-C to 3.5mm dongle for people who want to use wired headphones, which again is a very thoughtful addition. It's an extra few thousand naira if you were going to go and buy that by yourself, so I like the fact that they actually included this in the box. You also get a spare plastic screen protector, which there is already one installed on the screen of the phone, of course, but just in case, it's a nice to have, I suppose. And for added protection, they actually give you a TPU plastic case as well, which again is very thoughtful. I appreciate it. And I'll definitely be using it so I don't break this phone before I have to return it. Moving straight to the design and the build quality of the phone, it's mostly plastic and glass, right? But I have to say, the first thing that jumped out at me was not the design, it was the actual quality of the screen and the screen itself. The 120Hz refresh rate on this 6.8-inch AMOLED panel is very evident. I mean, setting up the phone, playing around the XOS 12, and just seeing how the screen reacts and plays is just, simply put, it's gorgeous, right? I'd however advise that you use the plastic TPU case, that is the one that comes in the box, to avoid stories that touch and protect your investment. Now, moving on to the actual performance of the phone, the Dimensity 920 chipset does a decent job. But then of course, I have to point out the fact that I am not much of a mobile gamer, right? You would hardly catch me playing CODM on my phone, but most of the games I do play on my phone are grandpa games like chess, Monopoly, Solitary, and maybe some Blokudoku. I know, I'm old. And to be honest, for those, the phone actually crushes it, naturally, right? The part where I really push my phone is in the social media aspects. That is content consumption, content creation, you know, using Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, Twitter, and all of that, and basically using everything simultaneously while also listening to music and things like that. When I'm using an Android phone, I like to go heavy on split screen multitasking, replying to it while I'm watching a YouTube video, and so on. Like, the ridiculous things that Android OS allows me to do, I like to push it. And since I'm actually a Spotify user, I'm also able to control all the music and all my other listening devices and options simultaneously from whatever phone I'm using. Not once in my experience while I was using this phone did it lag or slow down or anything ridiculous like that. And my experience generally using the phone was pretty smooth. Swiping through apps and such, fluid response on the animations, and everywhere was just, it was soft. I liked it. Now, I actually like the XOS 12, oddly enough, the one that comes baked on top of the Android 12 OS that this is running. And I was really surprised that I actually stuck with it, because usually when I am using a phone that's not stock Android, the first thing I want to do is download a launcher. This time around, I actually didn't feel a need to do that, which says a lot about the work that they've put into improving the software experience here. But I have one issue here with this software, which is the same issue I had with the last Infinix phone that I actually really liked. You see, the minute you finish setting up this phone, there's a bunch of bloatware applications waiting for you. Like, I mean, I got like 15 news articles in my notification panel from one of the applications before I could even download Twitter onto the phone. It's a lot. Now, moving on to the cameras on this phone, it's a triple camera setup on the back, right? And the main camera sensor is a 200 megapixel f2.0 sensor. And then there's a 13 megapixel f2.4 ultra wide sensor. And I guess this small one is a 2 megapixel sensor that I assume is supposed to be for macro photography. Now, the front facing camera is a 32 megapixel sensor. That's this one right here. Now, speaking beyond the numbers and actually focusing on the quality of the cameras though, they're fairly decent cameras. I mean, they take detailed photos, pretty sharp, and if you pay attention to the fact that you will need decent lighting to take decent photos anyway, these cameras are fantastic. So when you're outside in the sun, there's some overcast, whatever the case, fantastic photos. And especially when you turn on the 200 megapixel mode, right? The photos are great. They're tack sharp. When you're in a studio space like mine right now, properly lit, everything looking good, then sure, you're going to get decent photos as well. I like how bright and vibrant these photos always come out. Just remember, you do have to learn how to use your camera to get the best out of it. As for videos, you can shoot up to 4K video at 30 frames per second on the back camera, that's the main sensor. And on the front camera, it maxes out at 1080p, also at 30 frames per second. And now to the part everyone has been waiting for, the elephant in the room, the 180 watt Thunder charge. That's the fast charge included with this phone. This thing will charge your phone from 0 to 100 in 12 minutes flat. I was even able to go from 0 to 50 in just under 5 minutes, right? That is mad impressive, because then you never really have to worry about NEPA bringing light for extended periods of time or anything like that anymore, which is, I mean, we all struggle with this, right? Now, when you also consider the fact that this phone has a 4,500 milliamps per hour battery that actually has very decent standby time, I think it's a huge selling point. Nigerians and our constant struggles with electricity, it can finally end. Now, a few more very random details about this phone that I think are very important for you to note. This phone can and will take 2 SIM cards. The under-display fingerprint sensor on this phone is super fast, but I have hardly ever had to use it because the face unlock feature on this thing is so accurate. Like, it surprised me. I mean, it actually works in the dark, which is not something I can say for my other very expensive Android phone, not mentioning any names. The phone also supports 5G, so if you have a 5G network, congratulations, finally you can take advantage of 5G. The phone has 8 GB of RAM, but then that can be expanded to 13 GB with an extra 5 being pulled from the actual 256 GB ROM on the phone, which is also pretty impressive. Now, this phone is retailing for 383,000 naira here in Nigeria. And like I said, I am currently daily driving this phone, so you can expect that I will be uploading a lot of content about this phone to my Instagram and my TikTok account as well. So if you're not following me on both platforms, you should actually consider following me. The handle is the same everywhere. Now, maybe Infinix will let me do a drop test before I have to send the phone right back. Right? Infinix drop test? No? Okay, cool. No problem. Those were my thoughts about the new Infinix Zero Ultra. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I will see you on another video that was shot by Kagan. Peace.